Welcome back to another episode of the Bolts Breakdown Podcast. My name is Boomer.
My name is Tommy.
And if you're a Lightning fan, bored because there's 49 days left to the start of the season,
Always counting down.
then you've come to the right spot.
Yes.
Because we are also bored, Lightning fans, waiting for the start of the season. And we're just talking about the Lightning. We just want more Lightning in our lives, and so that's what this episode is for. Today we're talking all about last season's new identity for the Lightning. Physicality, toughness, fighting.
Because we got a lot of 5 minutes for fighting
That's
or
right.
whatever it was.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun episode. Tommy, I want to ask you, just to kick it off.
Yeah.
And we're going to dive right into it, because obviously the Lightning fought a ton last year.
Yeah.
To give you numbers, we had 44 fights in the regular season. We had 11 in the preseason, 1 in the postseason. That's 56 total fights. Like, a ton of fights.
Yeah.
The next closest team was the Boston Bruins. They had 33 regular season fights.
Wow.
So that's 11 more fights than the next closest team.
Yeah.
And guess what the Stanley Cup champions had?
What?
8.
Oh,
So
my
we had
goodness.
more than the Stanley Cup champions' entire season of fighting than the next closest team.
Wow.
Anyways, all that goes to say, the Lightning fought a lot.
Yeah, they did.
My question to you, do you think a new identity has been established for the Lightning around the league? Like, if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, if you're the Florida Panthers, if you're any other team, do you look at the Lightning and say they're a tougher team now because of the 56 fights?
I mean,
or do we just fight a lot?
What's the difference?
Well, you can be a tough team to play, or you can be a team that just fights. You know, there's
That's a good
huge
point.
difference. Like,
Yeah.
if we don't fight, would someone still look at us and say that's a tough team?
I think what defines us as being a tough team is being physical, and physical doesn't always mean fighting, right?
Lots of ways to be physical.
There's a lot of ways to be
You can
physical.
punch Rasmus Dahlin in the head as he's going to the ice, you know, with your glove on.
There's a lot of things you could do to be physical, and also to not penalize, right? I'm reminded of, I think it was shout out from our last episode when I called out the Toronto Maple Leafs, but there was this whole thing about where Austin Matthews got absolutely decked, right? And I can't even remember.
This past season?
I don't even remember when this was. So I just remember it being a story, and
Sometime in the
it might have
past.
been last season, might have been the season before, but it was recent, and he got absolutely destroyed. It might have been a legal hit. I'm not sure. I can't even remember. All I remember is the storyline of Matthews gets destroyed.
Wasn't it? Yeah, keep going.
Matthews gets destroyed. Nobody does anything about it.
Right.
His teammates just leave him out to dry. He's like injured. He's hurt. His head got hit or whatever it was, or his leg. I think it was his leg that he got injured. It was just all this stuff. And it showed that the Maple Leafs were not a team that stands up for people. And frankly, not a tough team. And I don't think you could say that about the Tampa Bay Lightning at all. You got guys like Emil Lilleberg, you know, your boy.
boy.
You got guys like Brandon Hagel who are not showing up. Even guys like Anthony Cirelli and Braden Point had fights this past year. And those guys are, you would think, more skill players, more role players. Zemus Girgensons had a fight. Pontus Holmberg had a fight. Like, all of these guys.
19 different guys had a fight.
That's
in the
a
Lightning.
lot of guys, right? Who had fights. And of course, you have your guys like Scott Sabrin and Curtis Douglas, right? Who are going to fight all the time. But there's a difference between that and some guy just showing up and fighting, like Yanni Gourde fighting his old team, right?
Right.
I mean, all these things happened this past year, and you just don't think about it. So are we a tougher team or just a team that fights? We're both, in my opinion. You can't not be a team that fights when you have 11 more than the next team, right? So you definitely are that
We're definitely a team that fights, but are we tough?
I definitely think we're tough. I definitely think if a team came up against us and they lay a hit on somebody, they know they're going to get punched in the mouth.
Tommy thinks we're tough, but does Tommy think the other teams in the NHL think the Lightning are tough?
Well, you'd have to ask their fan base. You'd have to ask those teams. You'd have to ask them, if I'm stepping on the ice against the Tampa Bay Lightning, not am I scared, because I don't think professionals are scared.
No,
but do they know what's going to happen when they lay this huge hit? Do they know what's going to happen if they disrespect, Vasi, or if they disrespect Kucherov? And the thing is, I think they do. That's my guess. Again, I'm not going to go around the league interviewing every player that's played us or is going to, but that's my guess. Maybe I should, but I just remember distinctly when Nikita Kucherov was gone after, I think it was even in the playoffs, we stood up, we did something about it, and I think everybody knew.
Yeah, who was that? I remember watching that. Back to your
Anderson or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. Back to your Matthews thing, Austin Matthews. Like, wasn't it I think it was Radko Gudas maybe, and they didn't fight him, and so the next time they played each other, the Radko Gudas like took a fight knowing he wouldn't like throw punches and he just got beat up. Like, do you remember that? Is that?
I don't remember this, honestly.
There was a team and it was Radko Gudas. I just don't know if it was the Austin Matthews hit.
Yeah.
But basically, there was no retaliation for what Radko Gudas did, and he literally talked about it in the media. It's like, okay, I'm gonna like play in this game. He was injured too, and he played through an injury to take what like he thought he deserved that he was never given because the team never fought him, and it was literally just the other player throwing punches at Radko Gudas, and he didn't throw punches back. I think he threw one punch to start, and then he just like took his beating. Yeah, because he was like, all right, I guess I deserve this.
Yeah,
and it was so delayed because the Maple Leafs or whoever it was never actually fought him right after it. So anyways,
I just think that that's the culture of hockey historically has had the enforcer role, right? Where there's this one guy or maybe two guys who you're like, this team's playing dirty, send him out there, right? And he goes and hits
4 or 5 minutes on the ice,
lays a hit on somebody and just goes into them or takes a fight or whatever it is. And for the purpose of the team morale, for keeping the code, right? The hockey code and all that kind of stuff. And so now I do understand that they've lost the enforcer because there's not enough slots on teams to have just an enforcer anymore. You got to have somebody who skates well, who defends, who can score goals or whatever it is, play some sort of role, but it's not the enforcer and that's not a thing. So the entire team, in my opinion, this past year became the enforcer. The Tampa Bay Lightning themselves were the enforcers.
Right, instead of just one guy.
Exactly.
I think back to, I think it was the second time we played Edmonton. Hagel was along the boards and they like kind of double teamed him.
I remember this.
And they crushed him along the boards and the broadcaster's like, oh, there's gonna be payback for this. And immediately Anthony Cirelli's dropped the gloves and he's fighting.
I think he lost that fight miserably,
he got crushed, but
it was the principle.
It's the principle. You hit Brandon Hagel, Anthony Cirelli's coming after you. Your knuckles are gonna hurt a lot. After you punch Anthony Cirelli. So. Yeah, it was great. And Anthony Cirelli, fun fact, he fought in 2 games and we won them both. So when he drops the gloves, good things happen.
But the opposite is true for Darren Radish, who he fought twice and we lost both of those games. I don't know if that says anything about him or not.
Well, he's on the Maple Leafs now. So.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah. So now he's our enemy, is that what we call it? I mean,
I say he's undercover. I think I said that a couple of podcasts ago.
Yeah.
Darren Radish is undercover with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
So I guess my question for you is you've watched hockey for a while now, right? And lots of people who don't watch hockey, they know hockey for 2 things. It's fast and physical, right? They watch a hockey game, they're like, what's going on? I can't follow the puck. Or what's going on? Why is there MMA going on the ice, right? What are people doing? What are they punching for? And so when you, I guess, in your history of watching hockey and specifically the Tampa Bay Lightning, how would you compare this last season to the rest of Tampa Bay Lightning history in terms of this physicality? And I'm kind of curious about the speed element too, but we'll put that to another day just for the physicality piece. Sure. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, I mean, this past season we had over 1,000 penalty minutes. I think the exact number is 1,207. And that's the most penalty minutes we've had in any season since like 2008, 2009. Like Steven Stamkos's first season in the NHL. So it's been forever. Yeah. And that's not like the whole NHL as a league has gotten a little bit less fighting, less physicality, like less enforcer type. But it does go to say like this year was an outlier. Like even amongst some of the early 2000s, the 1990s, like this is up there on those lists of penalty minutes, on those lists of like misconducts and fights. Like, so how does it compare? I mean, it's really hard to compare like this year to like pre-lockout years, right? Obviously you can't really do that, but I think back to like the cup runs, 20 and 21. Yeah. John Cooper talked about, he said the identity back then was we were tough to play against, right? Like that fighting thing, like sure, you're going to get punched in the face if you mess with one of our guys, but every shift, like you were going to get beaten up. Maybe not in a fight, but maybe you're going to get pressed against the boards. Maybe you're going to get a cross check to the ribs. Like we were going to make you feel playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. And John Cooper talked about the salary cap being like the reason we lost some of those guys, right? Like the Barclay Goodgrows, the Blake Colemans, the Yanni Gourds, who is now back. But we lost those guys and the identity kind of went out the door with it. Yeah. And John Cooper talked, it was in March that he had this interview, but he basically said, like, we've got a bunch of guys this past year that have really bought into what we're doing, talking about reestablishing that identity of like, hey, we're a tough team to play.
Yeah.
And like we talked about at the start, like, it's not necessarily just fighting. Yeah, this year was a ton of fighting, but it goes beyond that. It's that reputation that the broadcasters are going to say, oh, the Lightning are going to come after you for that one, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's similar to the previous Lightning teams that we've had the most success.
Interesting. Okay. I'm curious about, you mentioned the what, how many penalty minutes was it?
1,200,
something like that?
1,207.
So without fighting, right? You said you have 44 fights during the year. So that's about like 230 penalty minutes and probably 250 penalty minutes in fighting, something around there. So you're still at like 950, almost 1,000 penalty minutes without fighting. I'm curious, how does that compare to the rest of the league? Do you know? I don't know if you know the stats for all the penalty minutes.
The rest of the penalty
the
minutes?
rest of the league.
Non-fighting penalty minutes?
No, just the rest of the league with their fighting penalty minutes included. Like how would
penalty minutes?
Yeah, total minutes. How would that compare to ours without? Because ours without would be around 950. Let's say.
I see what you're saying.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like compared to the rest of the league, where does that put us? Because yes, I think we are tough. I think we do fight, but one of my concerns is that we overcorrect the other way, right? Where we're just fighting all the time. And where we're becoming undisciplined and a little bit unruly. And one of those things I can think of, an example specifically, is when Scott Sabourin took that penalty at the end of a game, right? When you're in a crucial time in the playoffs. It was the playoffs. And he takes a crucial penalty.
Bringing up drama here.
He's a guy who is supposed to enforce. He's supposed to play hard and tough. But you also... that could lose you the entire game, if not the entire series, if you're not your entire season. And so I think that things like that are important, but if you're not disciplined, it also takes out everything. So I wonder if did you get the chance to pull it up and kind of look at what the stats were?
The Boston Bruins were the next closest team. They had 978 penalty minutes. That's including their fights.
Including fights.
So what was the math you said on our fights?
So our fights, we had about 44 fights, plus you take about some misconducts, that kind of thing. That's about 250 if you add in some of the misconducts in there and things like that. So if you do 1,200 minus 250, what are you at? You're at about 950, right? Yeah. And so...
which is about where the Bruins were. The Bruins were at 978.
Yeah.
Right? And then third team was the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Black.
So what
922.
I guess what I mean is we're fighting a lot. Yes, we're also penalized very heavily.
Sure.
And so I'm curious, do you feel the same concern that I do of like, why are we taking so many penalties? Like that's a lot of penalties over time, and you can't have that many accidental, oh my gosh, I accidentally got called for a cross check or accidentally tripped that guy. A lot of those penalties are probably flagrant. I'm just being undisciplined, or I'm Scott Sabourin and I'm just playing physical and not paying attention to the time and day.
Wreck-It Sabourin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about it for sure. But John Cooper talks about this all the time because the media has asked him this too. And it's like, well, what kind of penalties are we taking? And I go back to the playoffs. Like, were we too aggressive in the playoffs? Were we too like, we're going to just destroy you and that's how we're penalized? Other than the Scott Sabourin hit, not really, right? Like that was really the only aggression penalty that we got where we kind of overstepped and it cost us. Like you think about Jake Gensel's high sticking. Do you remember that one? Where he just kind of swung at a puck. It was late in the game and we ended up losing. I think that was game one.
Which is a stupid penalty. He should not have taken that.
It was a stupid penalty, but it's not an aggressive penalty, right?
No.
So I go back to what John Cooper always says, and he says it depends on what type of penalty we're taking. Like, are we being dumb and you're careless with your stick and you're tripping or what have you? Those, I mean, it's just hockey. Like, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
If we're being too aggressive, like early in the year, Emil Lilleberg, that's where I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how this next season plays out. I think John Cooper's going to rein it in.
Yeah.
Like Emil Lilleberg is a perfect example. Like he was so careless and reckless in the beginning of the season, and then it got fixed. And so I think it will get fixed if it's there to start the year. But I think the same group's coming back mostly, and so I think next year it's not even going to be an issue. Like I think it's already been fixed. It was like, hey, we're really aggressive. We're that tough team. Like look out. And then we had to rein it in a little bit. I think it's dialed to the perfect.
So you feel like the pendulum was swinging, like not last season, but the season before, it was swinging back towards we're a little soft, right? We're kind of taking the hits, but we're not giving them. And then this past season, it's kind of swung the other direction towards we're really physical. We're going to stand up for things. And so you're saying that this next season is going to kind of swing to the middle, and we're going to be a team that's tough, known to be tough. And if you mess with us, it's tough. But, and I said tough a lot right there.
But not as many penalties, not as careless.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the hope, is that because that my ideal Tampa Bay Lightning team and physicality, first of all, it's fun to watch a fight. You know, it's fun to watch some excitement, some speed and physicality. But my ideal team setup when it comes to physicality would be that we fight when we're provoked, right? When we fight when we're provoked, but we don't take stupid penalties. I don't mind penalties. Penalties happen. That's the part of the game, like you just said. But we fight when we're provoked, and we don't take stupid penalties, right? And we're tough. That would be it. So we're, hitting and taking hits, and it's just a back and forth game. But I feel like this past season, frankly, we took a lot of stupid penalties that I can remember, and we fought probably more than was necessary. So I
felt like, for me at least, I thought that was early on. Like, we were really bad with penalties in the first half of the year. But over the second half, I thought we improved. Did you see it the same way? Or even, are you talking like March, April playoffs, we were still too aggressive?
I remember the last month where we took a lot of penalties. And again, I'm eye test guy, you're data guy. And so from my eye test, and what I remember is that we were just taking a lot of penalties, and we weren't being super disciplined. And I remember we also weren't scoring a lot of goals. Like, they were low scoring games. And again, I'd have to check all the stuff. But I feel like when you're playing really, really tight hockey, which is what you're doing when you're getting into the playoffs and when you're playing really pivotal games, and if you're going deep into the playoffs and if you're winning Stanley Cups, you need to be disciplined enough to not take stupid penalties, and also not just take excessive penalties. Sometimes, sometimes you take a penalty here and there, but when you allow multiple power plays happening every single period for a whole game, then my brain is like, well, are we just trying to lose? Or what are we doing here? So again, I'm not that much of a stickler of it. I'm just saying that the data shows that we had too many. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was the first half of the season, but nevertheless,
but the eye test, the eye test to Tommy is still saying too aggressive. Dial it back.
Careless is a better word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the pendulum will swing back? Do you agree with me, or are you saying?
No, I think the pendulum will swing back. I think that Cooper is going to rein it in. I think the statement was made in the preseason against the Panthers.
And then we're good from there? None else is needed?
Last year, I think that the statement was made, and we could have just played neutrally and not had 44 fights. In my opinion.
That's fair.
I think you could have just been listen, look, these are our rivals. These are the guys we hate. Let's bring up a bunch of AHL guys and beat them up. And then we're going to walk back into the normal season, regular season, and we're going to just fight when it's necessary. But I think they carried that vigor and that fighting mentality throughout the whole season, which definitely gave us an identity, but I don't think it was necessary, honestly.
Sure.
In my opinion.
I think you're right, for sure. But I think it's cool to watch, and I think it shows the character of the guys in the room and how hungry they are, probably fueled by a guy like Hagel, right? Yeah. Who's all motor, I want to win, I'll do whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. I think it's cool to see them respond, because one of the things John Cooper says to his guys is, hey, you don't have to fight, but you have to be willing to fight, and you have to let everybody in the building know that you are.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the mentality. It's okay, you don't have to fight, but... you better step up if needed. We're not the Toronto Maple Leafs, right?
Yeah.
Somebody checks Nikita Kucherov, you're going to jail, straight to jail. So,
yeah, I agree.
To see the buy-in from all of these players, Jake Gensel fought Nico Mikkola.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that.
Because he got elbowed in the head. He's enough of that. There's probably 6 feet of difference in height between those two, right? 1,000 pounds of difference.
Maybe 6 inches and 50 pounds. But yes, I understand.
It's a giant versus I don't know,
a normal guy, your average hockey player.
But Jake Kinsel's still fighting, right? He's still willing, and so that's what's really cool to me. It's there's buy-in in this group, and that shows the character and the hunger of our players and our organization. That is just really cool to me. So hopefully we dial it back, but you can't complain with compete and will to win.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. I think my favorite games to watch are ones where there are post-whistle scrums because somebody got a little bit too chippy, right? And we're experts at the face wash now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Taking that glove and just shoving it in their face. But I don't think we need to be experts at taking penalties. I think we need.
Sure.
I think we can find the balance between the two. And yeah, I mean, like I said, my favorite games, post-whistle scrums, but maybe not every single whistle, which sometimes happens in our games.
Like that Buffalo game.
Like the Buffalo game and like some of the Panthers games, which I'm sure we're going to get to here because what are we talking about?
We're talking about fights. But before we talk about specific fights,
okay,
I want to give you just, because the only thing that matters is Stanley Cups, right? And so I'm going to go back through all the past years back to our cup runs and tell you how many fights each of the Stanley Cup champion had during the regular season.
Okay.
And it might surprise you.
Okay.
So the Carolina Hurricanes, I already mentioned, they had 8.
Yeah.
Way less than 44.
I think we fought them at least once, right?
We did. Well, Seth Jarvis fought Zemgus Girgensons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember if we had any other one. I think that might have been the only Hurricanes fight. But then the Panthers, the year before, had 21. The year before that, the Panthers had 24. The year before that, Vegas had 14. The year before that, Avalanche had 20. Our 2021 Cup, we had 23. In our 2020 Cup, we had 17. So none of those are anywhere close to 44.
No.
Right? And so it's like, I mean, we can talk all we want about the benefits of fighting. Like, does the Vasi fight in the Stadium Series spark our comeback? Like, that you need to fight, right?
Sure.
Like, to an extent. Like, all of those teams are 20 fights or less, really, like on average, the Stanley Cup champions. So it's like, at what point or what line are we crossing where we're just spending too much energy on fighting and being aggressive and not on putting the puck in the net?
I think I would love to, if there's some researcher out there who just absolutely loves analyzing everything, like even more than your level, where they would go through every single game that we played and looked at every single fight that we had and asked the question of, was it provoked? And I don't know if was it necessary can even be answered, but was it provoked? Maybe could be answered.
Which side was the instigator?
Yeah. Who was the instigator in the situation? And I think a little bit of like, was the infraction to the level where we really had to fight? Right? Because I think Austin Matthews getting hit. I think Brandon Hagel getting sandwiched. I think Nikita Kucherov being gone after, or Connor McDavid being gone after, or any of these big guys who, Macklin Celebrini and Nathan McKinnon, like, if these guys are getting targeted, I think it's almost always you kind of have to answer for it, right? But if you just got a guy who's in there and he gets hit, it's like, to what extent do you actually have to fight? And so I would be really interested to look through all those fights and ask the question, were we like exceptionally provoked this year, where every single time that we were fighting, it's because we're in a scrum and some guy, shoved his hand in someone's face and spit on him, or, did an illegal hit or whatnot? Or was it like that about half the time, and the other half of the time we just were like feeling, I don't know, spicy, and we wanted to fight somebody, like I don't know. And so I would be interested to know that, though, genuinely, because I think 17 or 23 or those numbers seem more realistic.
Right.
44 is unbelievable. And so it's either people were provoking us all of the time, or we were choosing to fight all of the time. And I don't really feel like there's any in between. So I'm wanting to understand, like, why are we fighting in a way? So, of course, it's to establish identity, but I don't think we necessarily need to do it as much as we did this year.
Right. I think most everybody expects it to go back down.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, who knows? There's whatever the reason is, there was buy-in, and who's to say that buy-in goes away?
Yeah.
Maybe we're just as willing, and if somebody checks somebody the wrong way, like, we gotta fight. So
over under. We'll come back to this podcast at the end of the season. Over under 32 fights.
I think
next
under.
year.
I think it's under for sure.
You think it's under?
Yeah,
under 32.
I don't expect us to reach above 30, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying under 30.
You're going above? You think we'll fight a bunch? I mean, we did
44.
sign Jeffrey Viel, and so this next week's blog is on Jeffrey Viel. So you guys can look forward to that. On Monday, it's going to release. And spoiler alert, he is a fighter. He loves to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's on our team. We still have all the other same players. So
Yeah.
we don't have Curtis Douglas, but Scott Sabrin will be back. He might play in the AHL, who knows. But, like, Emil Lilleberg's still on team. Eric Chernuk's still on team. Like, we still got these fighters.
Well, maybe I need to be a little bit of a better Vegas and say over under 27 fights.
Oh, now you're pushing it.
Yeah, over under 27.
I'm still gonna go under.
Okay.
I think we're gonna be around 20 to 25 fights if I had to guess.
Really? Okay.
If I had to guess, but who knows? I mean, that's just predicting. Right?
I'm gonna say 26 to 30.
Okay.
So you say 20 to 25. I say 26 to 30. I still think that we fight a bunch and it swings back, but I don't think 44 is even in the cards.
No, I would be shocked if we did, but you never know. If we do, like, some of the fun for us fans.
There's some games though that will definitely skew that data, right? Where there's a game where we have like 5 fights, and there's a
crazy
craziness.
Buffalo game we had at least 4.
It was unbelievable.
All right, Tommy. Let's talk about our favorite fights.
Okay.
So we're gonna each give, instead of like a game this week, we're gonna each give our top 5 favorite fights. And this can be from preseason, from regular season. It can be in the postseason.
Yep.
We're just gonna rank them, and everyone watching, give us all your thoughts.
Yeah.
You got thoughts on what we've already talked about? Send me a message.
Yeah.
DMs are always open. Leave a comment. If you have your top favorite, send me them. We love to just interact about Lightning hockey. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to switch over and we're going to talk about our top 5 favorites. Tommy, why don't you kick us off at number 5?
Yep.
We'll count us down from 5 to 1.
Okay.
What was your 5th favorite fight of the 2025-26 Lightning season?
My 5th favorite fight was something you already mentioned. Actually, you already mentioned this so far in our conversation, and it was Zemgus Girgensons against Seth Jarvis of the Carolina Hurricanes. And the reason that I picked this fight specifically was because I was kind of wrestling with, what's my favorite, what's good about a fight, that kind of thing. And when I watched this one, I was... Gosh, it was like visceral. Like some of the fights, you're like, oh, they're fighting, whatever. But for this one, it was like he was like angry at him or something. It was like,
who, Girgensons?
Yeah, Girgensons. He seemed like he was like angry, and I think it was because Girgensons had laid a hit on somebody else right during the game.
Right,
and
it was Aho.
It was Sebastian Aho. Yeah. Okay, so he laid a hit on somebody else, and then Seth Jarvis went after him. Right, and we're at home doing this, and so I feel like this was a moment where Zemgus Girgensons was like, I am a Tampa Bay Lightning, right? He was like, this is our identity, where I'm going to hit somebody and then they're going to try to, make up for it, and I'll hit that guy too.
This is him letting the entire building know that he's willing to fight.
And I'm going to hit that guy too. So
there is a significant weight advantage for Girgensons.
100%.
But it is one of my favorite. I'm really glad you picked it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just something to it, to seeing a Lightning player just demolish in every sense of the word the other players.
But I also think that there was a fight between, like you said, Gensel and Mikkola, where I mean, Gensel just gets destroyed. But part of, I think, hockey fighting, which is what's interesting, is I'm not a huge fan of like MMA or of boxing or any type of.
I don't pay attention to
it. So maybe that's controversial that I'm not a huge fan of it. And so part of me always thought like, I don't know if I like fighting either. But fighting in hockey isn't like fighting in those leagues. It's not just like I am trying to knock this guy out. Fighting means something. Like there's weight, there's emotion behind it, there is communication behind it. It's not just, can I knock you out? Can I hit you harder? Like, can I get you out of the ring or whatever? It's, can I send a message?
Right.
And I think that it's a little bit different. And hockey fighting is not graceful. It's not elegant. And it's not that skillful either. It's really guys just swinging.
Well, there's a lot of balance and agility and strength.
That's true. Okay, that's fair. What I mean, I guess it doesn't look skillful, right? You're just guys who are just swinging around and swinging each other and on skates.
There's a difference between Connor McDavid's razzle dazzle and Girgenson's right hook?
Yeah, and if we're comparing it to actual fighting, there's a lot of like, skills and technical stuff. Yeah. But anyway, so I love this fight because it did communicate a lot of that emotion.
It does, for sure. It's a great one.
What about for you? What's your number 5?
All right, 5th on my list, Tommy, is the Radish-Greer fight from the preseason.
Ooh, okay.
If you're
all the way back
on YouTube, or if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever, you can switch over to YouTube. We'll play some of these as we go, but we'll also explain them as well.
So Darren Radish against Greer, you said?
Yeah, AJ Greer. And AJ Greer, Florida Panthers, you probably know this guy's name. He is just the worst. Like, he is always instigating. He is the guy who threw that sucker punch at Hagel that kind of started everything in the preseason.
Okay.
And Radish gets in a scrum with him, and it felt like all of the Lightning guys were like, hey, fight. And Greer was always like, no, I'm not fighting.
Yeah.
Finally, however Radish did it, he gets him in a fight. And it's a good bout, right?
Yeah.
Like, Greer throws some and lands on Radish, whatever. And then Radish delivers this, like probably the strongest punch I've ever seen deliver in a hockey game, right to the nose of Greer.
Ooh.
Like, it's just unbelievable. Right hook. And as a fan, as somebody who was still fuming from Greer punching Hagel in the head, like not in a fight, just randomly after the play, I was like, oh, there's nothing better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it should be higher on my list, but that punch alone, Radish's right hook straight to the nose of AJ Greer,
Yeah.
it had to be on the list.
Well, I think that, again, this shows the weight behind the fights, right? And like to my earlier statement, this sounds like it was especially provoked. So I think that brings a little bit more into it.
What's your fourth, Tommy?
So,
what's fourth on your list?
My number 4 is Brandon Hagel versus Krebs of the Buffalo Sabres and of the crazy Buffalo Sabres game. Brandon Hagel is a fighter, and there's nothing else to say about it, right? Even when he's not actually getting a 5-minute major for it, he's still fighting. It feels like, and he's still being tough and still being physical. And so he had a few interesting fights this year, but with this one, I just remember how scary it was, honestly. Like, sometimes when I see them do it, either one or another player will be in a vulnerable position and the other one is just laying it on them. And so for this one, again, so much weight and emotion behind it. He was just waiting and waiting to get his time, and when it was, he took it and he took him down. And oh my goodness, it was like, again, scary. I was like, holy cow, Brandon Hagel, I don't want to be on his bad side.
No, he's a scary dude.
Yeah.
And I feel like he always just waits for that right hook, like over the top.
Yep.
And for some reason, he always delivers. So
yes,
that was a good one.
What's your number 4?
My number fourth favorite fight was the Moser Sillinger fight. Columbus Blue Jackets.
Okay.
Late March, early March, sometime in March. But this fight was awesome because there was similar to the Aho fight, like the Gergensons, Jarvis. Aho was hit. In this game, a Columbus Blue Jacket was rocked. And I think it was Sillinger, maybe it was his teammate, but he didn't like it. And he comes up and he like messes with JJ Moser, and JJ Moser's like, fine, you want to fight? Like, let's go. And it's even battle. Like, Sillinger's a tough guy. He's known for fighting sometimes. And JJ Moser just crushes him. Like, absolutely crushes him. He spins him, he lays him against the board, and then he's just delivering left hooks. And Sillinger lasts maybe like 5 seconds and goes down the ice.
Oh my gosh.
It's just another one of those dominance things that I'm like, there's nothing better. Like, JJ Moser is one of my favorite players, and you're like mad about a clean hit. So you come and you try to mess with him, and he's like, all right, let's fight. And now you're on the ice.
And there he is.
Like, nobody's better than the Lightning. So how about you just take a seat and stop talking?
Yeah, I know. And for all the people out there who, don't like the Lightning, maybe, who are listening, or maybe you're just like, well, do we win every single fight? Go to the blog, watch the video. You get to see everything, the good, bad, and the ugly.
We're not picking our favorite fights like the one where Sabrin got knocked out. Remember that one against Jack Guy?
Oh, man.
There's plenty of times where the Lightning were on the receiving end of
but that's just hockey. So I want to give you my number 3.
Yep. What do you have?
Actually, I believe it was from the same game, not as this one, but the one I just gave.
Okay.
Of Darren Radish versus Rasmus Dahlin.
There you go.
The Buffalo Sabres game. And again, Radish getting involved. And it's interesting because I feel like for the most part, our defensemen aren't really that involved in a lot of these scrum. Like, they're involved in the scrum, but they're not actually going and doing the fight. And so it's interesting to hear Moser, right? Radish. So far, you only have defensemen fighting.
Right.
And so for me, it was this fight with Radish and Dahlin. And nobody likes Dahlin. Okay,
Nobody.
Let's just be honest. Like, people do not like Rasmus Dahlin.
I don't get what his deal is. Like, he must be such an instigator because every player dislikes Dahlin.
Nobody likes him, and he must just be chirping all the time or something. And so, it reminds me of I just saw this video recently of somebody who was like, tell me who your favorite player is, and they didn't tell them who their player was, but the reaction was just like disgust, and everybody in the comments was saying like they probably said Brady Tkachuk, they probably said Matthew Tkachuk, Rasmus Dahlin, like these guys who you're just like nobody likes, or Brad Marchand, right? Nobody likes these guys. What are they doing? You love to hate them. And so I think Rasmus Dahlin here, especially in his home, just kind of getting taken out. I mean, if I remember correctly, this was the game where it was like 6-5 or something crazy. 8-7. Yeah, exactly. So
this was a wild game, and it is the same game as the Hagel Krebs fight.
Yeah.
It's the same game where Hagel punched Dahlin in the back of the head. Like, you remember that?
Yeah, where he just got mad at him.
Yeah, net front, he just got mad and started wailing.
Yeah, I mean, they must have done something horrible, or we must have said something terrible, or everybody was just fuming during this game. So anyway, I thought this was a great fight for Radish, and again, communicated that we don't like you very much.
We don't. I will say, so Hagel went on a podcast this past week, maybe a couple weeks ago, and he talked about Rasmus Dahlin, and he said the reason he like kind of went off on Dahlin was because of the cross checks to the ribs, right? And Hagel was just like, I don't know, he was making me mad the whole game. He kept cross checking me in the ribs, and there's no padding there most of the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could take so many cross checks to the ribs, and then you just, I guess, get too mad.
Yeah. What's your number 3?
All right, my number 3 is the Scott Sabourin, Brendan Dillon fight against the New Jersey Devils.
I don't know if I remember this fight, actually.
This one, again, dominance, but Scott Sabourin lays a huge hit, and Brendan Dillon tries to come answer the bell. And Scott Sabourin immediately, like, he delivers the hit, and he knows someone's coming. So he turns around, his gloves are off, and immediate left punches right to the face of Dillon, and it doesn't stop. Like, it's literally 8 connecting straight to the face of Dillon, and then Dillon tackles him to the ice, right? It's like a super quick fight, but the instantaneous reaction from Sabourin, like, delivers a hit, throws off his gloves, and then starts punching, like, within a second, probably.
Yeah, I think that's like more and more common, interestingly, nowadays, where a huge hit is laid, and for some reason people feel the need to do something about it. Like, I think about Crozier on Slavkovsky,
in the playoffs,
in the playoffs, where he just delivers a huge hit. Slavkovsky did have some funny words to say after the game about it, I remember, but he delivers a huge hit, super clean, and still somebody had to go after Max Crozier, right? Which I think, in my opinion, this whole going after people when there's a legal hit that was just hard is very lame.
It's stupid.
I think it's ridiculous, but I do understand, like, it brings in the physicality of, like, you just hit my guy. If I respond back, it brings the crowd into it. It amps people up.
It's that meaning you were talking
exactly
about. But at the same point, you're getting a penalty, and so it's like, come on. That's kind of goes back to the carelessness. Like, if it's a clean hit, go hit them back, right? Like, the game's still going.
Legally.
Go hit their start player. Legally, right?
Legally.
You don't got to drop the gloves, get an instigating penalty, and put your team in a worse position. Anyway, Scott Sabourin, he was a great fighter. He was so fun to watch. Just how quick he is hilarious to me. So, what's your number 2, Tommy?
So my number 2, I just mentioned kind of both of these guys, is Brandon Hagel versus Juraj Slavkovsky.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Of the Montreal Canadiens during the playoffs. This was an incredible fight from both sides, in my opinion. I think that when there was some drawing going on right by the boards, and they were kind of discussing it, talking about it like gentlemen, and then all of a sudden they throw their gloves off and they say it's time to go. Slavkovsky kind of gets him down. He starts grabbing his jersey, getting him down. Brandon Hagel is just, like you said earlier, waiting for the moment to strike. He's got that right hook over the top. He's ready for it. And here, probably the most clean hit that I've seen of all the fights this year was this punch that he gave Slavkovsky. And if this sent some meaning, I mean, the funniest thing I remember seeing after this game was where people were absolutely roasting Brandon Hagel because he was like emoting or whatever. He was like doing all the gestures and all the funny things.
Said too small.
And then he says night night and stuff like that. So just like he's being a goofball. Yeah. But I do think when I'm talking about meaning, this is the appropriately second most meaningful fight from the year, in my opinion. And so
it's your second favorite.
Yes, hence my second favorite. And so I just thought this meant a lot. And Brandon Hagel really established himself. He was already dominating during this series.
Yeah, he had the Gordie Howe hat trick in this game.
Absolutely.
Goal, assist, to fight.
He was just on fire, and this just was the icing on the cake.
This was a great fight.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal in every respect. And Hagel, again, on that podcast I mentioned earlier, and I'll link it in the show notes if you want to go listen to it. But he talked about this fight, and they're just kind of asking him, and he basically went up to Slavkovsky, or maybe Slav talked to him first, and he's like, hey, I'd go anytime. And Hagel's like, okay, really, anytime? And he's like, yeah, anytime. He's like, now. And that's kind of how it started.
Wow.
Which is just like funny. Like, they weren't really angry at each other. It's just like he was chirping, and Hagel called his bluff. He's like, fine, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And obviously, Hagel wins that one. Clearly. But, all right, Tommy, my second favorite fight is going to surprise you.
Yeah.
My second favorite fight was the Vassie-Swayman Stadium Series fight.
Okay.
And this one, I mean,
this is
there's
iconic.
no more meaning to this fight than, like, this is the most iconic fight ever. And we always quote it. The broadcaster sitting there, he goes, this is crazy. And we say that all the time, right? It is crazy. I will never forget watching the game. I didn't get to go, but my wife and I were on the couch watching the game, and she, like, can't sit still. Like, just, like, jumping up and down, like, this is crazy. I'm losing my mind. Vassie is fighting. Like, our star goaltender is fighting.
I was speechless.
There's no other words for it. And all of a sudden, he's a great fighter, right? He left-handed, destroys Swayman. Like, oh my gosh. And then it just compounds because we know the result of that game, right? We were down 5-1 at one point, and we come back to win it in a shootout 6-5. Like, you talk about meaning. You talk about fights sparking a comeback. I mean, how can you get better than this?
I don't think you can.
Why don't you tell us what your favorite one is? I'm assuming, I'm going to be shocked if it's not. Is it this?
So
Swayman?
My favorite one is Brandon Hagel. Just kidding. it's Vasilevsky versus Jeremy Swayman. I mean, come on. This is the most meaningful fight. In my opinion, this may be the most iconic moment in all of Tampa Bay Lightning history.
Wow.
And I'm saying that.
What about our cups?
We won 2 cups. We won all this stuff. Wow. We're huge. We're there's a legacy.
That's a crazy statement. I might have to clip that, Tommy.
You might have to. But in my opinion, iconic. What does iconic mean? I'm not saying the most meaningful necessarily, but the most iconic. Like, here is where Vasilevsky is not just one of the, if not the best goalie in the entire league or world.
I mean, he won the Vezina this season.
He won the Vezina, right? So he was the best this season, right? Yeah. But not only has he won the Vezina now twice, not only does he have multiple Stanley Cups, not only did the Tampa Bay Lightning play a hockey game outside, right, in their history, but that guy who's done all those things steps up for his team in a regular season game that's way more than it actually is, and fights in center ice against the Boston Bruins, who are historically our rivals, right? Before the whole Panthers kind of came in the last few years. Right. Historically, the Boston Bruins are our rivals. He steps up to the plate. He doesn't knock him out, but he takes control, right, of the fight. He wins the fight. He wins the fight. No questions asked. And we come back to win 6-5 in the shootout, right? And this is just he's an icon. He's an absolute icon. I think if there is one, we just talked about this, of if there is going to be a statue of a player who is not in our top 6, right? Or, one of those top D pairings, it would be Andrei Vasilevsky with a left hook on Jeremy Swayman. I just think that is an iconic picture. Yes, you can win Stanley Cups, but what do you remember? Moments like this. And so I remember too. I was sitting on the couch watching it with Sarah. It was a sad game. We started to play better, and this moment happened, and I got like chills. That feeling of like that I'll never feel probably again after that, right? Or maybe I will.
49 days.
Yeah,
49 days.
49 days, maybe I'll feel it again. But I just think this is the most iconic moment in Tampa Bay Lightning history that created this icon of Andrei Vasilevsky. I think we could talk about so many other moments, and we won cups, 04 and 2021, and all these different amazing players like Nikita Kucherov and Brandon, Hagel and Point, all this stuff. But wow, this just hit it for me.
I'm not going to argue with it. I mean, there should be a statue. It was iconic. No arguing. Like, phenomenal.
Fair enough.
Phenomenal.
But what was your number one? And I think I can guess it. But
why don't you guess? What do you think it is?
I think it was Brandon Hagel against Yaroslav Koski in the playoffs.
Bingo. That was my first favorite.
Yep.
And I mean, it was just, the playoffs are what matter, right? And the Vassie fight was everything you said it to be. It was iconic, but my personal favorite, just the emotions of the playoffs, was this Hagel fight, just because Hagel's one of my favorite players, and he took control of that series right into the end. Like, if we had won that series, and I've said this in other podcasts, like, and we had moved on, like, Hagel's going to be the Conn Smythe, right? Like, because we win round one, we're winning the Stanley Cup. No arguing there, right? And Hagel's the Conn Smythe winner, you know? So it's, I don't know, just the momentum we got from that and the way it happened, and Hagel chirping them too small and night, like, I don't know. I just loved it. And so as a fan perspective, is like, I have to put that first, because I was just thrilled beyond belief when this happened. And this was, I think this was game 2, right?
It was earlier on,
which won in overtime.
I think so.
One of my other favorite players. So that whole game, and I was just so relieved, because we go down 2-0 in that series, it's different, right? And obviously we still lost the series, which sucks. But if we lost in game 4, game 5 again, it was like, I don't know, there's some tough questions, thoughts that were going to happen. And so when we won this game, it was huge, and it was sparked all by this fight. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's almost hands down that this was either the number 1 or maybe the number 2 best series, or the second, either the best or the second best series in the entire playoffs.
To me, it's number 1 for sure. And most people I've talked to agree, even like non-Habs, both sides.
Yeah.
Which other series?
I think other series that could rival it, and I think this would take the cake because it went 7 games and it was just absolutely like unbelievable throughout the 7 games. But I think the first maybe 4 games of the Stanley Cup final were unbelievable as well. I think if you go back and watch those, to be honest with you, the Carolina Hurricanes are historically boring to watch. I've always just said that. I think they play a very gutty way. The Golden Knights are very entertaining at times to watch, and you love to hate them, right?
Right.
But the first 4 games of that series were just craziness that was going on. Just
all those
comebacks that were happening, and all this nuts, hockey going on. But I do think from an overall standpoint, with the 7 games that were played here, got to be the best series from the playoffs.
The game 6 shutout, the 9-shot game 7.
I mean, it was it was weirdo, but this was a crazy moment too. And I think it deserves to be up there for me, number 2, but I understand number 1.
There's no debating. That's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Vasi, Hagel, 1 and 2.
I think that they are 1 and 2 for completely different reasons. I think that the reason that it's difficult to say is it's like comparing Kucherov and Vasilevsky,
right?
Where you're like, but that's a goalie and a forward. You can't really compare them. And it's comparing those guys with like Victor Hedman, where you're like,
they play different games.
Yeah, they play totally different games with, different objectives. And so I think the Vasi fight was one thing, right? He's smiling after, and Jeremy Swayman is like privileged to, have been in that fight with him, and Vasi is thanking him for being there. Like it felt like brotherly love in a weird way.
Bigger than the game.
Yeah. Versus Brandon Hagel was, let's do it. We can do it anytime. And I'm better than you. Right. So I think your hat, the Hagel's Bagels, really speaks for itself.
I had to wear it on this episode. This is a Hagel episode, essentially.
Yes, I know.
All right. Send me your top 5. Everyone watching, I want to hear your top 5 favorites, because there's so many we didn't get to cover.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you remember the Washington Capitals game when it was over and Jacob Chikrin tried to mess with Eric Chernak?
Not even.
The game was done. Like, the horn blew, the buzzer, whatever you call it, was over, and Chernak just beats up Jacob Chikrin because Chikrin tries to like cross-check him and get in his face, and he's like, all right, we beat you, sit down, and throws punches and beats him, right? Like,
see, I don't even remember that.
There's the Scott Sabrin, Nick Foligno fight at center ice that lasted like 5 minutes, and it was just haymaker after haymaker after haymaker. Like, anyways, there's so many fights.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting to me to see what the rest of Bolts Nation thinks and what their favorites were. I'm sure Vasi, Swayman's at the top of everyone's list, but send me your top 5. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
To end this episode, though, Tommy, we're going to draw from the ThunderBucket, which we always do.
Yes, we do.
Again, if you want to submit to the ThunderBucket, there's a link above my head, and it will be in the show notes as well. So these are just prompts about the Lightning, about hockey, about Tampa, that we do after every episode, and they're just a fun way to end the episode. So you can submit a prompt, leave your name, we'll shout you out. You'll see what they're like right now as I draw from the ThunderBucket. Today's prompt is going to be, if the Lightning roster swapped bodies for a day, Freaky Friday style, who would you want to switch most?
What
I
the
don't
heck?
understand this question.
Okay, so my understanding of the question is if you could pick two players to do Freaky Friday, where
What's
they
Freaky Friday?
Okay, so if you don't know, for those of you who don't know what Freaky Friday is, it's a movie with Lindsay Lohan and I forget the other lady's name, but basically what happens is a girl and her mom, if I remember correctly, switch bodies in a way. So like it would be like this. I come here, and we do the podcast, and when you say I'm Boomer and I say I'm Tommy, instead of you looking like Boomer, you would look like me.
So you just switch.
Essentially, yeah, like we switch souls in a way, if you want to say that, right? So
but you keep your body?
Yeah, but you keep your body.
So I'm Tommy in Boomer's body and you're Boomer in Tommy's body.
No. You would be yourself, Boomer, but in my body, if we switched it like that. So basically what this is saying would be that like Vasilevsky's mind and like all his knowledge and that kind of stuff could be imputed into like Dominic James's body, right? His speed and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what the idea is.
And it has to go both ways.
Yes, it goes both ways. So those players kind of swap with each other as far as what they are good at. Okay. I'll answer it while you think about it. You have to understand the concept too. But what I would say is Vasilevsky's off limits because Vasilevsky has the goalie mindset and nobody else can have the goalie mindset, right? But I do think that I would absolutely love if somebody like Nikita Kucherov went in somebody like Dominic James' body, because I think that would be unbelievable to get this young guy who is so fast, who is so he's not as confident right now, so he's still growing in his confidence, but to get Nikita Kucherov's hockey mind and somebody like Dominic James, like quick, he's running around doing all this kind of stuff, all the muscle memory would not necessarily be there, but his mind would be there. And so I just think, well, maybe it would be there, all the muscle memory. I'm not really sure how Freaky Friday works metaphysically, but anyways, I think that would be kind of an interesting swap. Dominic James going to Kucherov's body. Everybody knows Kucherov is like, yeah, he's fit, he's got his thing, but he's nothing crazy, nothing standing out. So I don't think it would affect too much. And I think Dominic James has that go-getter mindset where he could be in anybody's body and I could do well. So that's my thought process.
I kind of had a similar one.
Yeah.
I said to Braden Point though. So Nikita Kucherov to Braden Point.
Interesting.
I think Nikita Kucherov's genius in Braden Point's speed would be, I mean, just you can't make it up. Yeah. Right? That's like Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid on steroids. Mm-hmm. Like that would be super cool. The only thing I think about is like Braden Point to Nikita Kucherov, right? The reverse way. Like,
yeah.
That would be tricky, but I just don't think Nikita Kucherov would be who he is if it weren't for his mind. So much of his skill comes from the way he sees the game and his work ethic, right? And so it'd be interesting to see the other way, but I think Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point's speed and his wrist shot and his ability to play like in front of the net.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be phenomenal.
There's so many other contingencies I'm thinking about. Like, what if they go righty to lefty, or what if they, do they have muscle memory in their body? Do they know how to skate fast and well? And anyway, that's
kind of the point with these ThunderBucket prompts. Like they could be anything. Like I don't even know what Freaky Friday is, and there's no name on this one, so we can't shout this one out. But go ahead and leave prompts. Ask whatever you want, anything you want. We're gonna answer them. We'll talk about it. It has to be lightning related somewhat.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to come back each episode with another prompt. We'll be back here next Thursday.
Yeah, and we're only 49 days. Is that what you said?
49 days away from the season. So if you're bored, you're still looking for Lightning content, Bolts Breakdown is your answer. I mean, this is made for Tampa Bay Lightning fans. It's made by Tampa Bay Lightning fans. There's a blog that releases every single Monday. This Monday will be on Jeffrey Viel. Last Monday was about fights. There's podcasts that release every Thursday. Really, Bolts Breakdown is just here for Bolts Nation. So subscribe, hit like, tell your friends. We're going to be here regardless if you do it or not. So thank you for watching. Again, send me your top 5, and we will see you next week.